Army to fight effectively, it must train realistically. For the past decade, the United States Army has learned the hard rules of war in unique war games at the National Training Center. This video ordnance program looks at how modern soldiers learn to fight. For centuries, armies have practiced the difficult art of war by peacetime training. The more realistic the training, the more effective the learning. Modern mechanized warfare has proven especially difficult to practice with its vast scale and its complex blend of infantry, armored vehicles, artillery, and aircraft. In the 1970s, advances in laser technology opened new opportunities to safely and realistically simulate modern weapons during training. Like a modern gun, laser beams travel in a straight line and hit with pinpoint accuracy. Unlike a gun, low-power lasers do no damage to the target they hit. This led to training systems such as MILES, the Multiple Integrated Laser Engagement System. It consists of two elements, a laser which fires a beam at the target, and laser detectors, which determine whether the soldier has been hit.
Right, the MILES harness and the halo is simulated for battle purposes to tell when a soldier gets shot or injured. Because every weapon, like the M16 here, has a laser when it's fired and sends out a beam. And when the beam hits any one of these little black sensors here, and you have a buzzer right here that'll go off, and you can't shut it off by yourself unless an evaluator comes and shuts it off for you. And that goes the same with the halo right here. If it hits you in the head anywhere here, then it automatically sets off this sensor right here, and you're dead.
Traditional methods of war games were little removed from children's games of cowboys and Indians, with soldiers arguing which side had triumphed. The ruthless realism of MILES means there can be no argument.
The real thing is that there's no question of who shot you. It's not somebody's judgment call, well, he shot you first. I mean, first draw wins if you're on target.
Realism is enhanced by coding the laser signal. Each type of weapon, from the infantryman's M16 rifle to the massive 105mm gun on the M1 tank, has its own special laser code. This prevents an M16 rifle from destroying a T-72 tank during a war game, an outcome which could not possibly occur in a real battle.
Really, it's the signature it puts out, just a laser. Like I said, M16 will kill another infantry person, but that's it. You know, it can't kill a tank. You can't kill APC or anything like that. While a tank is a killing weapon on this battlefield right here. It can kill anything and everything.
On the infantryman's back, a small buzzer is set off when he is hit by an opponent's laser. On tanks and other armored vehicles, a flashing yellow beacon light signals that the tank has been knocked out. The MILES computer in the tank shuts off its laser transmitter so the tank can't fight any longer. Lasers are invisible, so blank ammunition is used by infantrymen to simulate firing. Tanks use a small explosive simulator called a Hoffman device, since blank ammunition is not practical for tank guns. These simulate the flash and smoke of a real battle.
Generally, these lasers have very good fidelity with real systems, and if you get killed, you would have been killed by a real system. I'm very much in favor of it. I don't know of a better way to do it. It's an excellent training aid.
In the late 1970s, while recovering from the Vietnam trauma, the Army's focus shifted back to its main mission of defending Europe from the massive forces of the Warsaw Pact. Taking a cue from the Navy's Top Gun program, the Army planned a realistic training area to teach soldiers to fight outnumbered and win.
As we evolved as an Army out of the time of the 60s and the mid-70s into what we knew we had to be, which is a smaller, leaner, better trained, equipped force, able to do a lot more different things. People also took the lessons of history, if you will, and realized that in all of, or most of our first battles, we have not been as well trained as we would like to have been. And a lot of our first battles in past wars and conflicts have been very bloody and very, very devastating to us as a force. So rather than going into our first battle and learning the hard lessons there, the leadership of the Army, and very wisely, again in my opinion, because I wasn't even in the Army when this place was thought of the first time, to develop a place where we had absolute freedom of maneuver, freedom from the restrictions that we have on our home station posts, both here in Europe, Korea, and elsewhere in the world. That we had unrestricted airspace up to a high level so that we could introduce both Army aviation and Air Force close air and air interdiction type air, where we had the ability to shoot live fire, and where we had the ability to have a dedicated opposing force trained in the doctrine and tactics of a variety of potential enemies who were very well trained and very well equipped and very well led, so that we could put all those things together into an absolutely unrestricted, as close to free play as we can get without getting into actual fight, using modern engagement systems to replicate modern combat as best as we can. And we sort of did it based on a lot of models, both our own battles in the past and some more recent wars and conflicts fought by other people.
The desire for more realistic training was fused with the new laser training technology to form the National Training Center at Fort Irwin. Fort Irwin is located in southeastern California in the Mojave Desert south of Death Valley. It is a harsh environment, nearly barren but for a few coyotes and scorpions. Fort Irwin has provided the setting for the Army's most realistic force-on-force training since the early 1980s. At the heart of NTC is the Operations Center, locally nicknamed the Star Wars Building. The Operations Center is linked to the battlefield, enabling the exercise to be monitored and studied.
The Star Wars Building is primarily used to monitor the brigade operations out in the field. And our primary job here is to monitor operations and be able to graphically take a look at the operations and provide some feedback to the player unit by virtue of tracking their systems out in the field and taking particular shots, that we call them, of certain operations that occur, so we can provide them that feedback.
Miles forms the first layer of the NTC network. Each armored vehicle is fitted with a transmitter which emits a signal that is tracked on the computer screens at the NTC Operations Center.
We have what's called a B unit for motorized systems and man packs for smaller vehicles, which we use to attach to the vehicles. And what that does is it tells us where the vehicle is tracking. When the vehicle is killed by the Miles system, the B unit automatically shuts down and it shows up as a black box vehicle on the screen. And so it has an interface to the building here, which helps us assess how the battle is actually working and how things are going.
The ultimate purpose of recording the battle is to prepare an after-action review for the visiting units engaged in the mock battles.
The purpose of an after-action review here at the National Training Center is to facilitate for the unit that's out here to bring out lessons learned, what was done in the battle, what was done right, what the unit did not do, and then ask the question why. Why did it happen, or why did it not happen? One of the things that we don't do here is critique, as far as like a hard and fast evaluation. You failed to do this, or you did not do that. We try to get the unit to self-discover, if you will, the reasons why, so that they can walk away with some lessons learned and take those lessons back to their home station so they can apply it in their training program back at home.
The NTC experience is not all computers and lasers. The other critical ingredient is a realistic enemy force to fight the visiting unit. Here at NTC, the enemy force is called the OPFOR, an acronym for Opposing Forces. The OPFOR is patterned on the Soviet Army. They use Soviet tactics and battle formations. The Soviet pattern was selected due to the Army's concentration on its Central European mission in the late 1970s and early 1980s, when the NTC was founded. In 1990, with tensions declining in Europe, the OPFOR began preparing an alternative pattern based on Middle East armies, like the Iraqis. Still, the existing Soviet pattern proved helpful, since so many Third World armies have been equipped and trained by the Soviets. The OPFOR troops differ from actual Soviet soldiers in one important respect. They are far better trained. The OPFOR is no paper tiger. Many feel that it is the best mechanized unit in the entire U.S. Army.
In general terms of an opposing force, this has got to be the best trained, best led, and best equipped enemy force that will fight. This is their home turf, and that's certainly an advantage, but they have a very high esprit, and if you've talked to those guys, you'll know that. They're very proud of what they do. They like what they do, and they're told from the day they get here that they're special. And that's very important, because if you tell somebody that long enough and treat them that way, then they feel that way. They hate to lose. The OPFOR hates to lose. But at the same time, they know that when they're beaten badly and there's a lot of blinking lights out here in the desert, that in fact, in the big picture now, because we all are ultimately paid by and work for the same people, that we've all won. So where they would love to win every battle, in fact, sometimes they know they're not going to.
The troops who face OPFOR soon realize they are facing a tough opponent.
They're deadly, and they're real. They don't care. They're going to walk through you, and if you mess around and give them a half an inch, they're going to take the rest of it. They'll kill you.
The OPFOR uses tanks modified to resemble standard Soviet armored vehicles. These visually modified vehicles, called Vismods, are mostly built on surplus M551 Sheridan light tank chassis. The Soviet T-72 tank forms the inspiration for the OPFOR tank force. Unlike the thickly armored Soviet T-72, the OPFOR's T-72 Vismod has a turret shell made of fiberglass. The heart of the Soviet mechanized formations is their BMP-1 infantry combat vehicles. The OPFOR's BMP Vismods cannot actually carry an infantry squad, but visually duplicate the BMP on the battlefield. Soviet mechanized columns are protected from air attack by ZSU-23-4 anti-aircraft vehicles. The OPFOR Vismods are remarkably similar in appearance, even though their fearsome array of 4 23mm cannon are nothing more potent than simple steel pipes. The BRDM-2 is the mainstay of Soviet reconnaissance and anti-tank units. The OPFOR BRDM Vismod is based on the Humvee 5-quarter-ton truck. But it is not the equipment which characterizes the OPFOR, but their relentless training. The OPFOR conducts mock battles week after week, giving them a special home court advantage over visiting units from distant bases.
We know the terrain. Command and control is very simple. In fact, everything around here is kept to a simplicity, everything around here. So it's whether, like I said, command and control, radio traffic, maneuvers, anything that we have to do is first is walk through, such that everybody understands it, such that if the key leaders are killed, everybody knows they can still keep on attacking and all this. And like I said, the last thing is knowing the terrain. And since we know the terrain, we know where all the washes are, the hills, what we're talking about, where we have to go. So consequently, we had the advantage over them.
The OPFOR units not only have the advantage of training and terrain, they often have numerical advantage. The purpose of the NTC is not to stage a fair fight between equals. It is to subject the visiting team to an experience which mimics the real confusion and stress of modern war.
This is a very stressful place. You have stress of the environment, which is, as you're out there today, it's There's not much joy out there in terms of living out there. There's stress in terms of the effects of the battles, time, the lack of sleep. Sometimes you don't always get a hot meal when you think you're supposed to, or your body thinks you're supposed to. And then there's the stress of being told that maybe you're not as good as you thought you were, or that maybe there are some things you need to work on that you didn't think you needed to work on. And that can be a very up close and personal experience for guys, particularly guys in our profession who by nature are very prideful and have a lot of esprit in their units, and nobody likes to be told that they're wrong or that they don't know how to do something very well. So it can be a very humbling experience too.
On a cool November afternoon, we visit the base camp of the OPFOR as they plan an attack on a visiting Blue Force unit from the 4th Infantry Division from Fort Carson, Colorado. The OPFOR headquarters is located in the cusp of a rocky mountain to keep it hidden from the prying eyes of enemy scouts. The headquarters of the OPFOR 32nd Motor Rifle Regiment presents a thorough briefing to its unit commanders who will lead tomorrow morning's attack.
The 32nd Guards Motorized Rifle Regiment will conduct an attack on the march through units in contact in the southern corridor. To orient you to the map for the operational graphics and control measures used for this operation, the operational area consists of northern boundary TV Hill, Keeper Mountains, John Wayne Foothills, and Hill 824. In the south, the southern boundary consists of the Hill 909 Complex, the Southern Wall, the Whale, and Red Pass. Phase lines used for this operation, LDLC is phase line RIP with named phase line in sectors. Smash, grind, kill, cut, stab, and crush. I say again, mission, 32nd Guards, Motorized Rifle Regiment, attacks through units in contact, 17:06:30 hours, November 90, to destroy enemy forces in zone to seize objective Remagen at vicinity November Kilo 5709er. Execution. I'll now be followed by the regimental commander with his intent. Our mission is to seize and secure objective Remagen. My intent is to conduct a rapid penetration at a point of weakness in the enemy's defense. My decision criteria for committing our regimental main body will be to determine his main effort and his point of weakness. And I will base that upon the positioning of his tank-heavy forces and also upon the complexity of his obstacles. Significant factor for us is to maintain mass and to maintain tempo, regardless of the direction of attack that we take. We will attack through the Langford Valley with our first echelon forces, followed by the second echelon. We will pass through objective Normandy and the Whale Gap, and then we will continue our attack to the northeast on Axis Jug through objective Arnhem and on to our final objective Remagen.
The OPFOR troops have grown accustomed to the desert and to the war games and enjoy a few minutes of rest when they get the chance.
Hey Corey, now's a good time to start your the desert winds movement. Sand and dust.
As in any mechanized unit, there's plenty of work to keep the troops busy. Tanks require daily attention, especially in the desert.
pure steel.
With a hard day's work done, most of the Op 4 troops bed down for the night. But there's no rest for the scouts, who head out into the desert to reconnoiter the enemy Blue Force positions as a prelude to next morning's battle. Today's early morning attack will pit the full weight of the Op 4 against a small opposing Blue Force from the 4th Infantry Division. Op 4 commanders expect to face a task force of about 30 tanks and 30 light armored vehicles. The balance is even more in Op 4's favor. 40 of their tanks facing 13 Blue Force tanks, 118 infantry vehicles against 13 Blue Force vehicles, and 9 anti-tank vehicles against 9 Blue Force vehicles. The Op 4 attack will begin with a feint by a forward detachment into the northern sector of the battle area, nicknamed the Valley of Death. The forward detachment numbers about 25 armored vehicles. Then the main attack will come in the south, through a mountain pass between Furlong Ridge and a small mountain nicknamed the Whale. Small skirmishes by scout units the night before have preceded the main battle. Reconnaissance is an essential prelude to battle.
If your recon is good, you will know exactly what the enemy's doing, and you can plan on several contingencies in case your initial plan doesn't work. If they deny you your recon, then you just have to make a guess at what they have. And a guess, when lives are on the line, is not adequate.
At 05:30 in the morning, the Op 4 forward detachment begins its attack into the Valley of Death. The Op 4 commander hopes to lure the bulk of the Blue Force into the northern sector, while his main force crashes through the Furlong Whale Gap. The Blue Force commander is not fooled. Team Reaper, a small force of armor supported by Cobra helicopters, decimates the Op 4 forward detachment after they become bogged down in a minefield. At 06:30, we head out with the main Op 4 battle group toward the Furlong Whale Gap. The force heads out in narrow columns. The dust kicked up by the lead tanks will obscure the tanks following behind, making it difficult for the Blue Force to gauge their size.
Roger, the Sierra 2 element is inbound. He's about to kill right now. Mike, this is Steph. Go, Mike. Sierra, phase 2 and kill now. Roger, go, Mike. That's Steph. Roger, what is update BP2? We observe Victor's there. What's the status? I don't know. I'm trying to get that from Zulu. He's trying to give me a count at BP3 and BP2. Roger, we can see Victor.
The Blue Force commander sends out scout helicopters to determine the location and direction of the main body of the attacking Op 4. Helicopters are the modern counterpart of traditional cavalry, able to cover the flanks of the army with their speed and mobility. News from the helicopters prompts the Blue Force commander to call in air support. Battle is joined at 0700 when 4 Blue Force A-10 attack aircraft begin strafing the lead Op 4 tank column ahead of us as they are reaching the Whale Gap. Casualties among the lead Op 4 tanks are heavy. The first Op 4 tanks in the Whale Gap are destroyed by mines. In moments, laser beams crisscross the desert in invisible fury as the two opposing armored forces begin their laser duel.
Back up, I'll be with you shortly. Get your mass together and look for that Mike 1. Roger. Roger, I'm down to a 1-2, break. Took out 3 APCs, break. 3 ITVs. 1-5, Roger. Look for that Mike 1. Gotta take that guy out, you're sitting in the open. Get moving, get looking for him.
Over a mile away, the Blue Force M1 tanks swing into action in an attempt to repulse the OP-4 attack.
All right, pick it up, 2-6. 2-6 Tango, we'll go over. 2-6 Tango, 5-0, let's get out of here. Tango over. Roger, once we get up into some cover up there, we'll regain our mass and then we'll continue lightning to X-ray. 20 Bravo, 2-6 Tango, engage destroyed, 1 ITV, over. Keep it moving, 2-6. 20 Bravo, 2-6 Tango, just engaged 2 Mike 1s in the trains. They are both deceased at this time, over. Roger, good shooting. Move up, 2-6. 2-6, look over.
They came through and hit the obstacle. The Wales Gap itself was smoked. They came through, the first couple of vehicles came through 4 or 5 at a time, and we hit them. Then the masses came through. And what they did is they found out where we were at from where we were shooting, fixed us, held us in place and got our attention there, and the rest of them just came around them to the left flank and just walked right on through. And that's the doctrine that it should be. My gunners, we picked up 6. We killed 6 vehicles before they walked on us. They don't just come at us in mass and you know, if they get killed, say the devil with it. They get out there for individual tanks and they'll fight you. They'll fight you one-on-one. They've studied the Soviet tactics and they work on it. And then when they come at you, they mean business. I mean, it's not like a bunch of vehicles coming at you and saying, okay, well, you killed me, no biggie. No, they'll maneuver, they'll zigzag, they'll come at you, they mean to kill you. It seems like they come out with an attitude that they're here to just wax everybody that's in front of them. It's not like they're just here like a training tool. They come out here to train, they come out here to kill you, and they mean it.
After a half hour of fighting, the OP-4 has overwhelmed the Blue Task Force and charges ahead. But few OP-4 armored vehicles have reached the objective due to the Blue Force's tenacious defense.
As it turned out, I believe we were able to attrit about 1/2 of that regiment. Total, we killed, I believe, 40 to 50 tanks, and then about 80 to 90 light armored vehicles. My combat power was 13 tanks starting out because of prior missions, and so I was extremely pleased with the way the task force did. They were able to mass fires. They were able to reposition within the battle sector. We had tows positioned deep, which was instrumental in slowing up the leakers that came out of the forward battle area and delaying the regiment further. So we were very happy with the exercise, and the soldiers, particularly at their level, observed the standards and did well.
As the war games end, the Blue Force soldiers will return to Fort Carson, Colorado, knowing that they have faced the best. There are no cheap and easy victories at the NTC. Genuine success comes only if the visiting team understands its experiences on the laser battlefield and learns its lessons well. In actual combat, these lessons would come at a high cost in men and machines. Priceless lessons in bloodless battles are the real victories of desert war games.